Hello, everyone, and welcome to DevOps in the Cloud, our second webinar in our monthly webinar series. I have to apologize, I'm getting over a nasty cold, but fortunately I'm not the one that's going to be talking the majority of the time today, so just bear with me for a second. EPON is a boutique IT consulting company. We specialize in agile development, big data, and DevOps in cloud. We sponsor open source projects like JHipster, and we also greatly value thought leadership, which is why we started doing this monthly webinar series. Last month, EPON software engineer John Zacconi shared with us his expertise on Docker. So if you missed that, I would highly encourage you to go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. But today, we have Aaron Throckmorton. He's also a software engineer at EPON. And today he's going to be sharing with us about continuous integration and continuous deployment in AWS with Code Pipeline and Amazon's newest pipeline service, Code Build. Just to share a little bit about Aaron before we get started, he attended Virginia Commonwealth University and studied computer science. He's been a software engineer at EPON for 6 months and loves the friendly and collaborative work culture that we have here. His favorite food is sushi, and he enjoys fishing and biking in his spare time. If he could have one superpower, it would be the ability to talk to animals, which kind of explains why when he was 7, he wanted to be Steve Irwin. That didn't quite work out for him, so he ended up here, and we're very glad to have him. So I'm about to hand it over to Aaron, but first I want to encourage you to comment and ask questions via the chat window as we go along, and then at the end, Aaron will address them at the end. So feel free to also share your email address in the private chat if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter. No spam, just once a month, you'll get an email with our monthly newsletter, and you can unsubscribe at any time. So thank you for listening, and here's Aaron.
Hey everyone. Today I'm going to go over code pipelines and code build. It's kind of a new hot technology these days. With Amazon, kind of get into it as well. I think everyone's here. Most people know Jenkins and Solano. So just as an introduction, pipelines are a stage UI-driven way of doing your continuous delivery. It breaks the process into manageable stages and scales really easily. It adds a lot of visibility to your process. Like I said, you typically would, excuse me. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great way to get your continuous deployment. Sorry, I'm not a good public speaker.
You're doing fine, Aaron.
First time. It kind of replaces scripts. Not really though. You can still use scripts in your deployments. It still integrates the same way. If you want to use Jenkins as well, it can still be integrated into your pipeline. Code Pipeline is AWS's new, well, it's not quite new, it's 2 years old now, but it's not really, it's kind of still getting there. And with Code Build, it's pretty much there. It was released in 2015, and it's a highly integrated approach to continuous development and continuous deployment. It integrates really well with all of their services. That's really the power that you have with Code Pipeline. I mean, if you're already using AWS for much of your process, you may want to consider Code Pipeline as the next step. Pipeline is becoming kind of a common archetype in CI/CD. You see Jenkins, Solano, Bamboo, even GitLab offering code pipelines. Many of them are staged the same way with actions and various like build triggers. Amazon, as always, is gradually making competing services, and pipelines is getting better and better as they, I guess, look to their competitors for ideas and novel technology. Code Build being the newest. Code Build was introduced in November at reInvent. Code build is really interesting because previously pipelines had a kind of a hole. Like you would use Jenkins servers or Solano or other CI tools to integrate the build servers into the pipeline. Now you can just build in the cloud using their infrastructure. It's nice to be able to use their resources to manage it, like, without having to use your own like on-site build servers. You could previously use EC2 as well, but it would have to be hooked in through a provider in some way. So code build really changes the game. The environments include most of the tools you already use with those frameworks and languages, like Maven for Java, all the Android hooks, etc. Those are all provided by default with code build. And if you have other environments that you need, you can make Docker images for them and upload them to code build. You would typically make a build spec. You can also put the spec in at the time of creation in like the console, but you can attach a build spec into your root directory of your project, like if it's in source control, and then use, your team can edit it from there. Build specs are really configurable. It's multi-phase. It can be as complicated or simple as you wish. Pipelines are really powerful because of the way it integrates with AWS, as I said before. If you're already using AWS for a lot of your applications and process, you might want to try it out. It already uses many of these Amazon services in the backend, like IAM and CloudTrail for like logging. Ops work is also used. Lambdas are used to like invoke any kind of changes that you need in between various stages. Providers can still be used, but it's no longer necessary. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show you a pipeline I created. This is our our deploy agent. It's just a simple Spring Boot app running a static web page. I'm going to show you the pipeline I made to deploy changes to this. It's really simple. It's just 3 phases. You have oops, let me get rid of that. It's really simple. You have 3 phases: source, a build, and a beta. With source just being GitHub, build, obviously code build, and our beta being a code deploy agent I set up in EC2. I'm going to make a change to it, and we'll come back and watch that change being made. All right, I'll trigger release. This will take a couple minutes, so while we're doing that, I'm going to walk you through a couple other things. Here's another pipeline I made just to show you like the difference in like the UI. Like failed stages will be red, uninvoked gray, green for passing, blue for currently running. It's right here. And they also scale horizontally with actions. You can insert more actions into the steps. So I'm gonna walk you through one. We're gonna make a pipeline really quick. I'm gonna use the same pipeline infrastructure as the one I was showing you earlier. We're just gonna call it use 2. Our source will be GitHub. You can also use code commit. Code commit is another DevOps resource that Amazon has created. It's like checking your code into S3 with some version control over top of it. I'm gonna connect. It's already connected to my GitHub. We'll find my repository, webinar, build providers. So here's where we use code build. You could use Jenkins Solano if you have your own build service. Previously, that's the only choice you really had, but now with code build, you can use an existing. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create a new one just for your options. So like specifying a Docker image, using operating systems. Right now, only Ubuntu is available. Inserting a build spec. Really quickly, I'll show you our build spec. This one's really simple. It just goes through 2 phases, build and post-build. Packages with Maven because it's a Spring Boot app. These are our artifacts. We have a war file and our app spec. I'll get into app spec later. It's the way that code deploy actually installs the application on the agent. Let's go back. So I'm going to actually use an existing, use webinar. Our beta will be code deploy. So deployment group. So I'll show you code deploy as well. It's pretty interesting. Right now it offers 2 styles, in place and blue-green. You've probably heard of blue-green before, just flipping over the builds. Here are some of the caveats to using code build. You have to make sure you've installed the agent on the instance you're running. Not too complicated. They do need IAM services, so you would have to make a IAM profile for this code deploy to work, so it can get the permissions it needs to get on EC2 as well as S3 to deliver artifacts. So we'll get that. Role will just be pipeline service. And that's it. It should look just like our other one. Yep. I'm not going to run it though. We're going to check out the other one really quick, see if it succeeded. Ooh, almost there. Yeah, so what should happen is that I have edited this index page previously where we have I love code pipelines. It will say I love AWS. It will take our app spec. It's looking, this is the code deploy app spec. It's an artifact that we've placed with the war in a directory in the code deploy agent. It's just saying that we're taking the war file and moving it to our Tomcat web apps. Let's see, almost done. All right. So while we wait, so you can use as many instances as you want. You can also auto scale. So for this, I've used 2. I have 2 code deploy agents. You can use any tags you want, and it can scale up depending on your needs. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Logs are provided with CloudTrail. By default, you can actually hook up better CloudTrail tracking as well as CloudFront. Oh, there you go. I love AWS. That's really all I have for our pipeline, just demo. I'm going to turn back to Olivia.
Great, well, thank you so much, Aaron, and thanks to everyone who tuned in to listen. If you have any further questions, feel free to email Aaron or myself. Address is on the screen there. Also, don't hesitate to reach out if you would like more information on EPON technologies and the solutions that we offer. Our managing director and one of our tech managers would be happy to set up a time to do a free consultation with you. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you at our next webinar. Thanks.